What's up, Cough Country? I am sitting down with John COHN, one of the owners of High Roller Dispensaries here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we're going to make sure we get some B-roll of this place because this place is absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous dispensary. The displays are gorgeous. You got people coming around helping you all the time. I've never actually really been in a dispensary like this, but kind of with this feel. John, what's the kind of the vision behind this place? Like, how'd you get here?
We're really just trying to appeal to the widest variety of customers.
Okay.
Some people know what they want. They do an online order. They want to be in and out in minutes. We try to cater to that customer with a distributed workflow, different fulfillment from order entry and order placement.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you made a purchase, but I know you will.
Yeah, of course.
But just kidding. So we have a decoupled process. So you can either order online, you can order at a kiosk when you walk in the door.
Okay.
You can we have concierge bud tenders that'll come up and work with you individually, take your order for you on an iPad.
Okay.
Or you can place it at the register at an order entry station. But then your order, no matter how you place it, is fulfilled in the vault by 1 to 3 inventory people that manage the product. So it allows them to specialize. They know where the products are, and allows the bud tenders up front to specialize in knowing kind of what we have, what they do, where their effects.
With these bud tenders, especially the people going around helping, do you feel like the demand's more toward like, leave me alone, let me order? Or are people really responding to that help?
I'd say many people are really responding, especially novice users, or they call them canna curious, I guess.
Okay.
But
Canna curious?
canna curious.
Oh, canna curious.
So,
Okay, nice.
but it's a variety. So I know my partner who goes, he likes to be kind of showed what they have, how, get some insights on what's good, if I like this product, but you don't have it, well, what's comparable?
Okay, so like to kind of guide you through that. That's kind of what a bud tender does there.
Yeah.
What about the aesthetic of this place? Would you, in my opinion, this is pretty high end. Would you consider this a high end dispensary?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've probably been in 200 across the United States and cafes in Amsterdam. And this is one of the highest end.
Yeah.
We modeled it after a few that we've seen that were fairly high.
So what does high end mean to you? Like if I like for a cannabis consumer, what is a high end cannabis experience?
Well, for us, it's important, like I was saying, to appeal to the broadest type of customer. So, if you know what you want, in and out quick. If you want to have that white glove service, we provide that.
Okay.
We're adding delivery next month, again, for convenience sake, for customers being able to deliver some of the short titles that have opted out. But high end, while you're here, is high quality. Having the biggest menu we can possibly have. So most variety. Having enough stock that we're not running out. Because obviously in Atlantic City, it's some weekends there's 450,000 people here.
Right.
Some days in February there's nobody. 100%. Very slow business. So you want to make sure that your ordering is aligned with what events are coming up next week. Okay. And kind of.
So you have to have a little more thumb on the community than just having a business in the community.
Correct.
So you kind of got to be involved in that. Well, so you said you've been to you've obviously you've done your homework. You've seen other dispensaries out there. How are you guys different, you say?
Well, I'd say having that mix. I mean, a lot of them, especially in Jersey, the micros are only allowed 10 employees. So it's very difficult to try to service, have enough staff to be able to manage inventory, manage deliveries and incoming or outgoing. Yeah. So some are just kiosk only, for example.
Okay. Really? Just kiosk only?
Yep. And that's fine for somebody who knows what they want.
Right, exactly.
But so we have that difference. The store itself, obviously we have upgraded millwork. We have a lot of display cases for people to see packaging in the display cases, but we have a bud bar as well. And the bud bar is something we've gotten a lot of compliments on.
Tell me about what do you mean by bud bar?
So in a lot of the East Coast states, and actually even many of the West Coast states, Maryland's the one that's not in this category, but most states don't allow deli style, meaning you're not buying ounces or pounds or whatever.
You can't cut it up, smell it, taste it.
It's prepackaged.
Okay.
So as a result, people generally can't see what they're buying, can't smell what they're buying. So a bud bar, the one we have is designed so they're plastic containers. We have 30 strains per side. Right. 4 sides.
Yeah, I saw those.
And you can open it up, smell it. It's got a magnifying glass so you can see the crystals.
Yeah.
So it gives people a chance. I use it, but
I mean, it's got to develop a little bit of trust, like this is, you're putting your hands on what you buy,
Correct.
Actually, I'm kind of curious about this. I feel like a lot of retail is kind of going the other way, where, touch on this a little bit, but it's going to non-contact, no interaction. Yep. Why do you think cannabis is a place where that's people are still looking for that kind of personal interaction?
Well, with all the strains, it's so different. And even the same vendors, supplier strains over time change. Yeah, they get different quality, different trim qualities.
It's true.
You get genetic drift in the plants. So,
Right, yeah.
you know, people, again, just want to see often what they're getting before they get it.
Okay.
And I equate that to high quality products. I mean,
Right.
you're buying an eighth of an ounce of something for, you know, $40 to $60. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so you want to know what you're getting into.
similar, yeah, go to a high-end cigar shop. You know, the first thing you're gonna do is smell the cigar. You
Right.
touch it.
You're
Is
totally
is it
right.
fresh, you know?
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. You're totally right about that, though.
So
Well, so here you are. You're in Atlantic City. You're running this place. Why come to Atlantic City? Is New Jersey, is Atlantic City kind of friendly toward cannabis businesses?
well, it is.
Okay.
They've established a task force with a guy named Cash McKinley from the mayor's office,
Okay.
people that sit on CRDA's board. So here, there's dual municipalities or governing bodies here. CRDA is one.
That can sound dangerous.
It's twice as hard.
Yeah.
to get right. But at least they did put together a team to kind of keep them aligned, make sure the rules are kind of consistent.
All right.
And CRDA handles the tourism district, which we're in now.
Okay.
But before you can do anything here, you actually have to have city approval first. So you
Okay.
kind of get a recommendation, then you can, you know, go through the process of getting land use,
Okay.
zoning, and what have you. So it's more intensive, more laborious. But you know, it's a town that needed redevelopment, and we're in the process of building a cultivation facility. It's actually just been inspected for opening.
In Atlantic City.
Yeah, 4 blocks up.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, wow.
so you know, having both close is advantageous. So you can share some staff, not
Yeah.
too much, but logistics for delivery. We hope to be selling on our shelves 30% or so of the product here will come from our grow man.
But you're looking to get up to 30%.
Potentially,
Okay.
over time. We have multiple brands, so
Okay.
that's not going to all just be the Agricon brand, but.
Right. Actually, tell me about Agricon. You have experience in the cultivation of cannabis.
Yeah, so we were one of the 25 grower processors in Pennsylvania under the Agricon name and brand.
Okay.
And then we went and applied for and won one of the 8, now there's 9 clinical licenses also at PA. So,
In PA. Okay.
so those were, the clinical was a secondary grow manufacturer and then 6 dispensaries
Okay.
and a research contract at Drexel University. So,
Oh, you had a research contract too.
yep.
Did you sell that business when you came to New Jersey?
We did. We sold the operating business and the real estate. We did retain management of the clinical relationship with Drexel. So,
Okay.
And we're in a partnership. Rondo was our acquirer. We work with them. Well, we really run the Drexel research from the cannabis side.
Okay.
Verano funds it, and then they have some input on the board, and we have an IP sharing agreement for what comes out of it.
So I'm kind of curious how, because you're doing businesses in multiple states here. And with that kind of state division where cannabis cannot cross those lines,
Yep.
how do you function around that?
Well, we don't. I mean, we don't. I mean, it doesn't cross lines. It just
So just two separate business entities
correct.
exist.
What we grow in Jersey stays in Jersey. We'll sell it to our stores as well as other stores.
Okay.
Same thing when we were in PA operating. We couldn't cross the line.
I gotcha.
Now the patients can though. So you know we can recruit customers here. I mean, you know, a lot of people self-medicate when you use cannabis, even recreationally.
Right.
So we can actually do studies here as long as the IRBs will approve that.
Yeah.
With, you know, dual state studies.
Okay.
But we had a COVID trial running on non-THC cannabis wrap compounds.
As if it can help with COVID?
You're correct. Correct.
Oh.
And there's the University of Oregon actually produced some results that says it can.
Okay.
We had the same hypothesis based on just lack of people in our office getting it.
Yeah.
When 2 people got it that didn't smoke and everybody else who smoked didn't get it, it wasn't just smoking. It was the strain that had high CBG content. And
Okay.
so we did some research and found it to be effective.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've got, I forget how many patients enrolled, but probably upwards of 30 now. We need about 200 for the study.
Right. But it's kind of pushing in that direction.
Correct.
I read somewhere that when you guys kind of came together for under the High Rollers name, you were saying you were kind of more focused on craft, kind of more. We're all about medicine. Yeah, we're all about medicine. But New Jersey has gone recreational. So where's that line for you? Like medicine, recreational. Where's that go?
I mean, to me, it's about quality product, and quality is consistency. It's not the highest potency. So a lot of people, you know, people that go to a liquor store buy grain alcohol, right? They buy what tastes good, what gives them the effect they're looking for.
Well, if they do, they only do it once.
Right. Or to make jungle juice, and that's the end of the day. But to me, that's quality. Is knowing. You know, again, you go something, and you know, I made a comment earlier, but I was adult use rec user since I was 16. Mm-hmm. The truth is, I was self-medicating since I was 16. Anxiety, depression, diabetes. Actually, I lost 60 pounds in 4 months using cannabis. But but yeah, I didn't know at the time.
That's what you were doing.
But it turned out, but I didn't know at the time, even for anxiety, that's what I was doing. But it was actually making me normal on a daily basis. And, so I really believe a lot of adult use users are self-medicating.
Yeah.
It's not like you go smoke a joint and then just get totally out of control. It's not alcohol, so it's just different.
I feel that way about me. Like, I look back at the fact and like, oh, there were things that cannabis was doing for me that I wasn't really thinking about.
And honestly, when they come in and they start the bud tenders, that's what they want to know. Well, how will this make me feel? What does this typically do? Now, like any other drug, it doesn't work on everyone the same way. So that same drug might affect you differently than affect me, for sure. So does Zoloft. So I really think that it's still medicine. Like it's whether you're using it. Look, alcohol, it changes the way your body works. And so to me, again, you don't want to go buy Budweiser. It tastes one way one time and different way another time.
Consistency.
It's 12% one time. It's 5% the next time. So for sure, I think it's very, very important, very comparable.
Nice. And so we're going to come into why we're in this room right now. What's the next step beyond the dispensary? Tell me about this place.
So this was built as a public consumption lounge.
Yeah.
The CRC released last year. There's been talk about them, releasing lounge regs for a long time. Right. There were proposed regs out for a while, and then sort of the final proposed regs came out late last year. They went through a public comment period, adjudication period.
Okay.
And then pretty much the same regs came back out. Like they didn't change that much from what they originally were.
So it just went through the process and now we're here.
Yep. And now we're here. Although, so the regs came out, the original announcement was apps were going to come out February 16th. And here we are, end of May, and they're still not out. So, that's become a frustration, obviously, because we're paying rent. We put a lot of money into this.
What's the holdup there? Do you?
I truly don't know.
And nobody can tell. It's just it's behind closed doors, and it'll come out when they're done.
We've asked questions and haven't gotten answers.
That's the the DEA doing the rescheduling thing. Like, we'll let you know when we know. Don't talk to me until then.
It's true. I get it's a process. It could be system based. It could be a number of things.
Right.
But the regs, they're very restrictive. So
well, when you get there, what do you plan on doing with this space? What is a cannabis lounge? Like, I'm not very familiar with that. I don't know these things.
Well, it's interesting. It depends on what state you're in, I think, is what defines what it is.
Okay.
Because of what you can and can't do. So Nevada, for example, they've had a few lounges on Indian reservations because they were not subject to the state laws.
Like a casino kind of
similar concept. Yeah, similar concept. So they were doing it a little longer, but then just a few months ago, they've opened a series of lounges out there.
Okay.
And you can, at least on the one on the Indian reservation, they serve infused cannabis cocktails.
Okay.
There's no alcohol in them, but they're mocktails.
But they're drinks. They're beverages.
Beverages. Some are inside, outside, so you can have live entertainment, big bands on weekends, bring your dog, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're literally frisbee tournaments, hacky.
Cute stuff.
So but it's a little warmer climate for a longer period of time there,
right.
So it might make more sense. But you can sell food there, you can sell beverages, just not alcohol. I don't know if you can BYOB to the newer ones yet.
Okay, like actually bring alcohol
in. I'd be surprised.
So you can't do that here.
Here you can't even sell water. Like it's
nothing.
It's pretty astonishing. Yeah.
So can you sell cannabis out of cannabis line?
Well, that's not clear yet either. So the regs, if you read them carefully, they do allow transfers of cannabis from a dispensary to a lounge.
Okay.
And that implies that the lounge would have its own inventory.
Right.
Just like you would do if I sell from cultivation to retail.
Yeah.
We'd have to transfer from cultivation to the store you're going to.
Yeah.
When you get there, they manifest it. They verify the manifest. They make sure, that the product got there and
from point A to point B the way it should.
And then now the retail is responsible for it. So you would think the lounge would work that way.
Yeah.
We did have a conversation with one of the inspectors who didn't believe it's going to work that way.
Oh, really?
But then it doesn't, then I question, what is the business model?
Because you have high rollers right next door. It's connected by a door.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Yep.
Did you always want it that way?
Well, no. So actually, if you have an outdoor lounge, so that's one of the weird requirements that we asked this in public comment and never heard back. But if you have an outdoor lounge, which you're allowed to have, it doesn't need to be attached to the dispensary. It can have its own entrance.
Okay. So it has to be open sky, outdoor.
Open sky, outdoor. Yep.
Okay.
But that doesn't need to be attached. Whereas an indoor one has to be attached and accessible from the dispensary. But in a high-rise hotel like we're in, we'd love to have it on the floor above, not just up here.
We're in the Claridge in Atlantic City. Come find it.
You got it.
Yeah.
So it'd just be more convenient, better use of space. We could have bigger events. So, so now we're looking at some other options to try to utilize that space.
Because I'm looking behind us right here, where you got a beautiful bar. You got a beautiful bar here. I mean, I know regulations are all out of place, but in a perfect world, what will we be doing? What will we be doing up here?
Well, we don't, like any state, they come out with regulations. Oftentimes they're over restrictive. Sometimes they're not restrictive enough.
Yeah.
They have to tighten them. It's easier to loosen them than tighten them, right? So in any state, I mean, look at New York. So
can't put the back in the
it's hard. So we really believed when we were doing this that they really can't, like, they would be in everyone's best interest for them to allow drink sales, not alcohol, but drink sales.
Just snacks, beverages,
basic foods. Now, what they will allow is for you to order and bring it in, just not alcohol. So food
can do
food and beverage.
BYO.
So you can, BYOF. Just I'm here. But to that end, so we did put mounted spots for kiosks on the bar. And what we'll do is have Claridge room service delivered to us here. So you will have that ability. But it really kills the business model for us because that's Claridge's revenue.
That's so on our door.
Yeah, so it's a very difficult thing to monetize on paper right now, the way the regs are written. But we believe it'll change.
So you're moving toward this, right? How do you move towards something when you don't really know what it's going to be yet?
We go by the existing regs and go by what other states are doing that's working and not working.
Yeah. So actually, what are other states doing that you're kind of following? What do you take?
Colorado. A little bit in California, but it's really the mix of cannabis and hospitality, right, at a high level. So, 420 friendly events, and they're very, it's a regulated industry, and so there's certain areas where you have to navigate the law and make sure you're staying on the right side of it. You've got New Jersey Indoor Smoke Act, which really prevents a lot of what we'd want to do.
Because that's going to fall into cannabis and
Clean Air Act,
Clean Act,
it doesn't. So there's city and there's state levels.
Because we're in casinos too.
Casinos have an exemption, cigar bars have an exception. So we're looking at different ways to, like, we're probably going to put a cigar lounge in here, but not in this room, but upstairs.
Is that just like a move to kind of get around that regulation?
Not around the regulation, but Claridge itself was a non-smoking hotel. And when we came in and built this, they agreed to take a floor to start, get rid of the smoke detectors, make it smoking, cannabis friendly, and then we would promote that and kind of work together as a partnership.
So that's their business, and you're going to work with them to kind of move that.
We'll get like a booking fee, and we'll promote it and be able to kind of offer a hospitality package with it.
Yeah.
And we have similar visions for the third floor. As a matter of fact, Monday,
it's on the third floor.
Third floor is a theater that holds about 660 people.
Okay.
Really nice audio.
We're talking about like events, like live events here.
Oh yeah, live events. Another one that holds about 180, and then Ocean Terrace Lounge. It's an atrium that looks over the ocean.
Okay.
It's about 8,000 square feet. So a lot that can be done with this. There's actually a restaurant that we're looking at as well.
Is it going to be a cannabis themed restaurant?
Don't know yet.
Okay, that's fair. It's in the future.
It's a future roadmap item. What we will definitely have is private events. that could be cannabis infused. The public side is right now it's a little tricky.
Get the space first.
Yep.
Move on after that. So you were telling me a little bit at the High Roller Club. Do you have something going on up there?
Yeah, actually, it's June 3rd. I think it's from 8 to 10.
Okay.
Doors will open at 7. And it's a private event. It's a cannabis comedy club night. And it's going to be at the View on the 23rd floor at Claridge.
So the View on the 23rd floor, Claridge, on what's the date?
June 3rd, Monday, June 3rd.
Monday, June 3rd. Check it out if you're in Atlantic City. Definitely going to want to check that out. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I think it's acjokes.com. You can buy tickets.
Okay. That's just acjokes.com. I love that, man. What's kind of going into your background here? How did you get to this point where you're opening up on the kind of the cusp of the change in marijuana regulation here? We're going into moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Laws are constantly being changed left and right across the country. How did you find yourself here now?
Well, it was a journey. We were one of the 25 licensed grow processors in Pennsylvania. Agri-Kind. So, we built that company, sold most of the operations, but kept the clinical. And had always had visions as our original business plan to be in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, and New York, but we really have carved that out of our plan.
Why'd you leave more production and go, because this is more hospitality oriented? Why'd you leave?
Well, I think as the industry grows, and your question about Schedule 1 to 3, one of the next things that could theoretically happen is interstate commerce. So at that point, do you really need a production facility in 3 joining states? So it makes a little more sense to produce in one of them, have distribution in 3 states. But people are starting to look more for the experience.
Okay.
And you can even see it in the brands and the products that are out. You go to like Planet 13 and you look at the edibles. Most of them are effect-based edibles now. They're not, strawberry versus watermelon. I'm sure they're flavored, but that's not what they're marketing. They're marketing sleep versus energy versus pain versus. We've been doing that for years. When we first started at Agricry, we made vape pens that were extracted compounds that were just targeted at specific things. So I lost weight using THCV many years ago. Didn't know why. I just knew the strains that I was using worked.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward 15 years, I find out Durban Poison has THCV, and that's why.
Right, appetite-suppressant.
Appetite-suppressant, glucose, metabolism increaser. So it really, things that you don't know, but you can kind of persevere and feel. Yeah. We're seeing them come to fruition. So we really believe the next wave with cannabis is the two, really, medical, and pharmaceutical potentially. Yeah. And hospitality.
Okay. Interesting. You mentioned before, like the next step might be interstate commerce. I've heard people say that once that happens, all these manufacturers and growers are just going to be wiped off the map, and California is going to take over the world. Is that where you're afraid? What do you think?
I don't think that's totally true. I think we will definitely see more of it, but we see it now. Like the stuff, it's there. The stuff that doesn't sell in California ends up, in New York, 4 or 3 months later. Actually, it's Oklahoma that most of the stuff's coming over from now. There's so much access.
A lot of illegal, like Chinese grows are in Oklahoma, Maine.
Yep. And the trafficking is just extensive. But, the way you look at it is, I think California produces like 40% of all of the fruit and vegetables. Yeah. We still need the fruit and vegetables. Right?
We're right.
So.
Well, kind of a tail end of that. So we went to the Champs Conference in Atlantic City last week, and you know what we saw? A whole bunch of hemp-derived THCA.
Well, yes.
We worried about that?
Yeah, no. So it's interesting. What you saw wasn't hemp-derived THCA. It was marijuana. It was straight-up marijuana. They called it THCA flower.
Right.
That's what marijuana is.
That's why I've been confused. It was always THCA.
Yeah, hemp is 0.3% THCA or less. None of that stuff. That was 15, 16, 18% THC, which is just straight up illegal weed.
So why are they dodging the regulations? Why are they dodging the tackets? How does that go?
I don't know. It's frustrating as someone who pays taxes and who has to build out a facility and pays, mercantile license in Atlantic City, but it's tolerated and it's baffling.
So it's tolerated, but what's the step going forward? I know we're talking about. Right now, we're doing a story where the hemp producers and marijuana producers are almost at war. Marijuana producers in the next iteration of the Farm Bill, they're going to be siding with prohibitionists that are saying illegalize it all.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's the way forward here? Because if that's just as proliferated as it is, are you afraid it's going to drive you out of business?
Yeah, not really. I mean, candidly, we had a hemp company. When we applied the NPA the first round, we didn't get the license, 2 application rounds. But we had some products. So we became the second largest hemp grower in PA. Okay. CBD extraction, we built a processing facility in Pottstown. Okay. But the consistency, I mean, you can scale at a much higher level, but you're growing hemp outdoors. So you're not going to get consistent flower. It's again, back to what I'm talking about. We really believe the consistency is what's important, especially if you want flower product.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're dealing with vape cartridges, sure. I mean, all you need is a subset of whatever you're extracting from.
Yeah,
you can be consistent every time. So sure, it has the potential.
Yeah.
But to me, it's all the same plant. It's cannabis sativa L. It's the exact same plant.
Right.
Arbitrarily, somebody in Canada decided years ago that 0.3 is the limit of hemp versus marijuana.
Right. That is arbitrary.
There's no scientific, nothing that says that. And frankly, over the years, people have crossed ruderalis with, to make, autoflowers and so much crossing the genetics that very little, if anything's pure anymore. So how do you tell it apart? So from my perspective, we're a cannabis company. We're a plant-based medicines company. That's what our parent company is. So we utilize CBD from hemp. We utilize THCV from hemp because you can produce it much, much cheaper.
Okay.
But in terms of flower, pre-rolls, things like that, we don't.
Yeah.
And I think connoisseurs know the difference. So you'll see that over time. But I don't disagree that with interstate commerce to the point about California, it'll lend itself to the large companies. The Altria,
those MSOs, they're just going to...
The MSOs could get bigger. They could consolidate. Or what could happen is you'd see big tobacco companies buying them up and divesting part of those assets because you don't need that much. You don't need 14 grows in 14 states. Right?
Yeah. So you just expand on one and
get economies of scale and build it up more. Yeah. So we see that happening on the legal cannabis side, and then on the pharma side, they may outsource to these companies until they're able to create synthesized cannabis.
Yeah. So. With all these changes going on, like how have you? I mean, our lifetimes have seen a wild divergence in how we kind of interact with cannabis.
Yeah.
Kind of like your own personal experience. How have you seen marijuana change from when you were a kid? You said you started when you're 16. all the way to now? How have you viewed marijuana, like now as opposed to back then?
Well, I mean, other than the social aspects and having to hide it. You know, it's interesting years. I was in IT for a long time. And you know, IT evolved very, very quickly because of groupthink, because of the internet. You know, you bring team people together, you share code, you share logic, ideas. You could grow with 3 other cannabis growers on, you know, 12 house street. You wouldn't know it with each because you can't tell anyone if you're growing and want to risk
hide in it all. Right?
And you certainly didn't share the best way to do it. So, you know, someone grew a plant, they think it's the best way to do it. Yeah. So it makes it challenging today when you're hiring staff. Like there's not a lot of standard ways to do things. And it's like, we joke, but it's like lead singer syndrome. Like you can't have a band with 5 lead singers, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go with one's grow methods and perfect off of those methods.
That's a great.
And then train if you want to scale. Like, you know, if you want to have 30,000 plants. And we adapted that, learned that quickly in Pennsylvania. But in how, you know, I viewed it, you know, as I said, I used it, didn't really think about why. I just used it. It made me feel better, and I did my thing. And I was very productive. I, you know, wasn't a couch lot kind of guy, but I never liked indicas either, which nowadays that doesn't mean that much. But you know, you look for the myrcene, you look for the beta-carotene, so now you know what to look for. But I guess that's the point. Back in the day, I knew what made me feel good. I knew what made me lose weight. I didn't know why. Now I know why.
Yeah.
We don't know the pharmacokinetics of why necessarily, but we know
we're working on that.
And we're doing a lot of that with drugs.
Yeah.
And actually, especially the genomics is what we don't know, is why it's different for you than for me. But regardless, we know there's an endocannabinoid system now. In 90, we didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of the nervous system.
Recently, yeah.
So when I went to grade school, there were 5 systems, and cannabinoid wasn't one of them. You know, so. But clearly, it's a regulation or regulator, modulator for your body.
Yeah.
And that's being evolved and learned more and more every day. Then there's the social stigma. You know, I have 2 kids, and I was concerned that, you know, as they grow up and I grow up, and I'm using quote illegal cannabis, what are their friends going to think? And that evolution and that changeover from and we were up and running maybe a year before COVID. So we literally went from illegal to essential in 2 years. Right?
Wow.
We were an essential business. We had to stay open, you know, and so having all that happen.
Yeah.
My senior son, wrote a paper on medical cannabis. And he wrote it when he was a junior. He did a follow-up when he was a senior.
Okay.
And just in the 2 years that I got all that experience, I was one of the 5 people he could interview because I was now an expert. And so he became actually like, wow, this is pretty cool. I get it. It's medicine. And so there's no negative stigma for him, you know, and where I was concerned, like, well,
I was going to ask you, like, is there any kind of translation you have to do for him?
But not at all. Not at all. He's more educated, as educated almost as I am in it now. So.
Well, now that we've gotten here, like, what advice, like, since we're kind of getting to that point, what advice would you give somebody just breaking into marijuana now? Like, they don't have all this history of all this change, like, kind of coming into it fresh now.
It depends on what aspect you want to come in on that thing. And I think to that end, you have so many more aspects you can get in on now. You know, back when the programs came out, it was just really grow, manufacture, and dispense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the lab business, which has gotten huge if you want to open a lab for it. And I think the evolution to hospitality, and if it goes Schedule III, it's going to make research 100 times easier.
Yes.
And I think that's absolutely critical across the board, whether it's medical or, you know, compound-based, entourage-based, things that, you know, FDA is very limiting on how you can get something through an IND. And there's 500 plus compounds in cannabis. So you have to do safety studies on all of them, you know, and then interactions. So it's a very difficult thing. Plus it's plant-based. And right now they're not interested really in that. Really? It's compound-based. Yeah. So FDA it's very challenging to get a plant through the FDA. I don't think you can do it.
See, that's a concept I didn't realize.
Yeah.
To kind of wrap up, going through, you've been through so many iterations and so many laws and so many things. What is a weird problem you thought you would never have to deal with in your life, but going through this kind of industry has made you deal with? Wow. Like a weird thing.
A weird problem.
A weird story.
Well, I could complain about a lot of things. Doing construction in New Jersey is a nightmare. But weird problem. Well, I can say that when we started Agrikind, our employee handbook was about 4 pages long. When we sold, I think it was about 60, you know, and it's because all of those weird things that you don't anticipate would happen actually happen. So probably a funnier story. It's not so weird, but when you get licensed, like in a state PA, it's got 25 licenses. It's very valuable. Right? And you've got investors behind you, and real concerned about regulations and compliance. So we started growing in a pod, which was allowed. It's like a shipping container, fully self-contained, as the rest of the building got built out.
Okay.
Gives you time to grow your genetics. But, we have tight compliance procedures. We have scrubs for everybody, Tyvek suits if certain phases of the plants.
Right.
You can't wear outside shoes in the building, air scrubbers, all this stuff. Got to clean. Total cleanliness. Code of conduct. So we had our camera system put in, everything. We got it licensed to grow. Yeah. Growing in the pod. We had our one grower in there doing his thing.
Yeah.
Really a plant-loving guy.
Yeah.
So comes out of the pod, half naked, shirts off, just shorts. I think he was boxers, actually. He comes out, and under camera, he sees a big leaf on his shoulder. Yeah. He looks down, grabs the thing, goes, right? He probably broke 5 violations, or you have to weigh your waist. You can't consume. He didn't have a medical card. Even if he did, you couldn't. It's just one of those weird things. Yeah. Okay, Mike. We're all laughing around the table. Yeah. Sort of. Yeah. Writing them up at the same time. You just can't do this. This isn't a field. This isn't California. But it's that type of stuff.
Yeah. Just things you don't expect, but until you do it, you're forging the way.
Yeah. So.
Well, John, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
This is a really pleasure.
Thanks,
guys. We're at High Roller Dispensary, Atlantic City. Come out June 3rd.
June 3rd, Monday.
June 3rd, Monday, 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
8 to 10. Come out. It's going to be live comedy night. I'm excited about it. If I'm in town, I'm definitely coming out. But guys, give you a chance. We're going to take some videos so you get to see this beautiful place. And when that lounge comes open, I'm excited. I'm going to be your first guy.
Thank you much, Steve.
All right, John. Thanks so much. Cough Country.
No sticks, no seeds, just news.